get started right now. My name is Mackenzie Kirby, and thank you guys for taking time out of your morning to join us right now. I am the Director of Global Higher Education Recruitment here at ELS, and I work really closely with your colleague Roy, who you know very well. I am also joined by Ms. Carol Sweat, who is the Managing Director of the California Lutheran MBA Pathway Program. Mr. Dane Rowley, who is the Director of International Admissions at California Lutheran. And we also, this was not on our invite, so I'm so excited that he's here, have Dr. KG Chen, who is a professor at California Lutheran. So we really have everyone who knows everything about California Lutheran who is joining us here today. So if you guys have questions, this is the perfect opportunity for you all. Today we're going to be talking, of course, about the university itself. We'll also be talking about the Pathway Program, the different admission requirements, the application process, and the deadlines that are coming up for spring. We'll also cover a little bit of campus living and housing, career services, and then of course some contact information so that you can continue to get information moving forward. But we'd love to start by doing a poll with you guys. Can everyone see the poll?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. We'd love to know what your top reason is for attending this webinar. Maybe you're here to just get some really basic information about California Lutheran. Roy was telling me that California Lutheran is super active in China, so you guys already probably know a lot about the university. But maybe not, maybe you're new. Maybe you're here to learn more about the Pathway Program itself and the different options for the MBA program, or to learn a little bit more about the career services that are offered, because we know that when your students come to the US and get their degree, that it's so important that they are set up for success after they finish their studies. So we do want to cover what options CLU has for your students with career services. I'm going to leave couple more seconds for you to finish the poll, but it looks like we have a lot of good responses coming in. Thank you guys for voting. All right. So this is great. If you guys can see the results, we have most of you are here to learn about the pathway option, which is perfect. So thankfully we have Carol here who can talk to you about that, and also to understand a little bit more about the career services. During this webinar, please feel free to ask questions in the chat box. We encourage that. I will be monitoring the chat, and so will Roy. Give us a thumbs up if something is helpful. And of course, if you need a translation, let us know, because we have Roy and Dr. Chen who can translate as well. So with all of that being said, let's get into the very beginning, which is why should you choose California Lutheran for your MBA? Mr. Raleigh, would you mind starting us off?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mackenzie and Dr. Chen and Carol and Roy for joining us, and many other counselors and colleagues that recruit for Cal Lutheran there in China, as well as our great counseling partners there in China and Taiwan. Really grateful for the time that you're taking to speak with us. So I'll talk just a little bit about the university. So why choose Cal Lutheran for an MBA in the first place? Well, a really rigorous and relevant curriculum, which means that it's not only practical, it's also going to challenge students and also support them in their professional pursuits, whether it's for internships here in the United States or career opportunities back home. We have distinguished faculty with deep international experience and perspective. A lot of our professors have both academic and practical business and industry experience. Small and supportive class sizes. It's something you'll get when you start as a pathway student, and also what you get as you matriculate into the general MBA program as well. And the next slide, we'll talk about one of the other major reasons for choosing Cal Lutheran, which is our location. Thousand Oaks, California is located just about 1 hour north of Los Angeles, about 62 kilometers. We're an hour from LA, we're 30 minutes from the beach, about 45 minutes from Hollywood, about 1 hour from Santa Barbara. It's really a perfect location. On top of that, Thousand Oaks is ranked as one of the safest cities in the United States. So it's the best of both worlds, a place where students can feel safe in a welcoming culture, and also get a fantastic degree in a great university. All right, and yeah, and the other advantage as well is a personalized academic curriculum. What do we mean by that? So we mean that not only will you have small class sizes, but you'll also have one-on-one academic advising from professors as well as academic advisors, and they will help you choose an emphasis area or professional track for your MBA. You can do a general MBA, but most of our students choose to do a focus on entrepreneurship, finance, international business, IT management, human capital management, or marketing. And so with that personalized academic experience, you're going to have your own personalized plan to launch you off into a great career and to enhance the career that you might already have as well.
And thank you so much for talking about those different professional tracks. We're going to just cover a couple of those, and we're going to start with the finance one. So we won't cover all of them, but just a couple so that you guys have a good understanding of what the different options are.
Yeah, definitely. So finance is one of those, and finance is such an important one to talk about because it mixes the quantitative or the business skills, some of the quantitative reasoning that companies really want in MBA graduates. It's a field that's creating a lot of opportunities, both around the world and certainly in the US economy. As we think about high demand jobs in cryptocurrency and investment and savings, tax planning, as well as trading on the stock market and other exchanges around the world, companies need people who can think very analytically about business decisions and make smart business decisions that are based on data. So in the classroom, you'll focus on ways to analyze data, financial accounting, really get a strategic sense for the big picture, as well as making really smart small business decisions. And you'll get exposed to those kind of practical experiences through the classwork, as well as through internships and career services, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well.
And I love that California Lutheran focuses so much, not just on the theoretical, but also on the practical, so that students are prepared once they leave the university. And we're, as I mentioned before, we're super lucky that we have Dr. Chen here with us, who is going to be talking a little bit about what he focuses on in the classroom and the courses that he teaches as well. So thank you, Dr. Chen, for joining us.
Sure. Yeah, my name is KG Chen, and so if I can take a few minutes. So to introduce myself, I'm originally from Taiwan, so I was an international student myself back in the 90s, okay? And don't ask me how early in the 90s. Yeah, but myself has been an international student, so, and I teach accounting. Accounting basically in the Pathway Program, which is required because most of our students do not necessarily have business background or business undergraduate major. And by the way, if you guys want me to speak in Mandarin, I will be happy to. But for now, so since accounting is necessary for business language, that's how companies present their result. So I teach accounting both in financial accounting and managerial accounting. So build their foundation so that they understand what business reports are, and then they can move on to finance or marketing or some other concentrations. Now, personally, I really enjoy the program mainly in two perspectives. The first of all is the small class size. So international students tend like to hide. Hide either behind the camera or in the corner in the classroom. But because of the small classroom size, so I literally can call on people one by one. Okay, each day, ask them to talk. And more important, this also leads to my second point on why I really like the program myself, is that a lot of, I mean, granted, most parents send their kids to the United States to get a degree. The focus is not only on the degree, but also on the language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I actually also teach in other institutions. I'm not going to tell you where, but it's a large state university in Southern California. Now, I've seen a lot of international students, especially, let's say, students from China or Taiwan. When they come to talk with me, the first thing they say is, 我可以说中文吗? Can I speak in Mandarin? Okay, if you send your kids to the United States and you want them to learn the language, I was really concerned for those students because they still feel way more comfortable to speak in Mandarin, which I understand. However, in order to train them to be able to get into the United States business world, not only their degree, but more importantly, the language and the culture. And the Pathway program, I have to say, for the students I've seen so far, their English ability is way better than most other international students I've seen in other institutions, even in high-level university. That's because it combines the English language with what they are learning every day. And with the small class size, I can call on people so they have to use language in the classroom or in a Zoom setting. So train them not only on the knowledge, but also in how to communicate in English, and also train them to get used to the culture of US business or US education. So which I believe, at least as an international student myself many years ago, it was the benefit I wanted. And so for myself, just because I was from, and there are several Chinese, Taiwanese students, so I also try to share my own personal experience as an international student, the hurdles, the obstacles, and how I overcome those. And 20 plus 30 years later, here I am. And so give them a outside of box thinking. See if you grab on the opportunities, if you improve yourself, you may have a good chance in the United States. So throughout the meeting, please ask anything in English or in Chinese. I can translate both, or I can put in Mandarin if you want me to. But thank you very much for now.
Dr. Chen, thank you so much for sharing both your experience as an international student and as a professor, but also your perspective. That's a very unique perspective. And I think I always talk about small class size being an important metric for students to consider. And what you're really talking about is that California Lutheran and the Pathway Program is looking at the total student success package. It's not just the academics, it's everything that goes along with it: academics, student support, career services, culture, and language, all wrapped into one. So thank you so much for sharing that. We did touch on the finance track. We are going to move on to the enterprise, innovation, and entrepreneurship track as well. Dane, did you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So this is another really popular concentration professional track within our program, but it's also something that's infused into all the things that we study in the MBA program. We know that students who are studying marketing might work for a small startup, or they might be a partner or even a founder of a small startup. The same thing with students that want to do HR management or international business. We want to teach our students to be entrepreneurs, to think innovatively, to look at the market where they are in their country, in their town, and see the different opportunities that might exist that are not being met by current companies. And we have many, many alumni, even current students, who start their own companies. And so we provide, we have a state-of-the-art, what's called an incubation facility, which is called Hub 101, which is our entrepreneurship center that hosts competitions. We actually host startup companies. So our students get to watch and observe and work for startup companies to see what to do, maybe what not to do, what kind of strategies lead to success, and perhaps what kind of strategies might not lead to success. Many startups fail. So our students can learn from the successes and the failures of other startups. And so again, it really balances this idea of theory and practice. And that's the balance that you'll get at California Lutheran University, as well as the connections. And leading into that, one of the most important things that I talk about to students as we think about the connections that students have, which is local business leaders. We have many, many events at the university where we have competitions for students, and we engage with local political leaders as well as local business leaders in a very informal setting. So our students are able to have dinner with different CEOs or CFOs. And through our Dean's Council, he actually has meetings frequently with different CEOs and CFOs and chief operating officers so that you can meet those people as well. And you can really learn what it takes to start your own successful business, or to perhaps work for one of those companies as an intern as you graduate from the MBA program. Next slide, please.
Yes.
That leads me to another really important thing, which is when you're looking to place students at US universities, I hope that you're looking closely at the university's career services. Without a strong career service, the strongest academic program or the highest ranking will not help the student if they don't have a good career center to help them use their skills to get a job, to get an internship. So at Cal Lutheran, we have one-on-one career counseling for students, not just when they're in their final term looking for their final career placement, but from the first day they walk on campus, we want them to visit our career center. They hold an annual career expo of about 100 companies or more than 100 companies. They also offer free workshops all year long on things like how to write a resume, how to apply for H-1B job opportunities, how to negotiate salary with your boss without getting fired. These are different workshops that students can take in their very first term as an MBA Pathway student to start to build their skill level so that by the time they actually apply for jobs, they will be successful at getting those jobs because they've developed the skills in the classroom and out of the classroom to do that. This next slide shows some of the many companies, just a small group of companies that our students are currently employed at from the School of Management. So in programs like the MBA Pathway Program. So some of these companies are ones you've heard of before. We have students all over the US, all over the world who are working in top companies. We also have students who are working in their own companies, who started a company through connections they made at Cal Lutheran. Along with that, I'll also mention a global network of about 25,000 alumni who are there to support our graduates when they finish and come back home. They'll be able to find other alumni in their own city who also went to Cal Lutheran and earned an MBA at California Lutheran University.
That's great. Thank you so much for covering the career services. I think you're exactly right. That is key for students when they're choosing the program that they're going into. And so to talk a little bit more specifically about what the Pathway Program is in terms of, just content and curriculum, progression, fees, etc. I'm going to have Carol, who is our managing director at the MBA Pathway Program at California Lutheran, discuss those with you guys as well. Hi, Carol.
Hi, good morning, everyone. And thank you, Mackenzie and Dane and Dr. Chen. It really is wonderful to have Dr. Chen here because he is able to explain a lot about in the classroom experience, which is what we want our students to just, have the best experience. And so that's really important for you to understand. I also want to thank all of the agents, and actually we have an incoming student on today too. So this is very exciting.
Great.
So the Pathway Program is just that. It's a path that allows you to enter the Cal Lutheran MBA community while still working on your English proficiency. You also will be getting the MBA credits by the time you finish your 33 weeks. It is a program of 3 terms, 11 weeks each, and as I said, it's a total of 33 weeks. At that point, you will be more than ready to enter the MBA program because there are many opportunities that you'll have to experience. As Dr. Chen said, it's not just about earning the MBA information and learning about that. It's for adjusting, it's for cultural acclimation. It's for really improving your language, and it's getting the support skills so that you can do that effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about the different benefits and what the entry requirements are.
Well, again, I can't say enough, but you improve your English skills while earning MBA credits, which is phenomenal because students used to have to wait till they had a higher proficiency score, or if they went through ELS, they had to have a 112. And I'll talk more about those requirements later, but you have a lower English entry requirement. IELTS is 5.0, TOEFL is 60, GPA is 2.1, which is really amazing because there may be students, and some of ours have been like this. They have a lower GPA because of various reasons. Maybe they had difficulty in a specific class, or they had problems because they were working at the same time. But the amazing thing is, it is not going to stay that way. And I'll tell you more about that later. It's exciting. You don't need work experience. You don't have to have a GMAT or additional documents. And there's no additional cost. I'll talk about the costs in a future slide. As Dane said, we have career services and other student services that are available from the minute the student steps on campus. As I said, the curriculum, it's 11 week, 3 11-week terms. And you'll be taking foundation courses and graduate courses that include global economics, quantitative research and methods, business strategy, organizational effectiveness, and managerial accounting. Dr. Chen's class specifically is accounting and finance, and he actually teaches in 2 terms because the class is divided. You'll get 1.5 credit, it's during second term, and then 1.5 credits at the third term. So it's a really great opportunity to be with Dr. Chen. As a mentor, he's been a great example for our students because they actually can see what they can achieve.
Absolutely. And so let's talk a little bit about the different admission requirements, whether a student still might want to be going to California Lutheran direct, but so we can cover that as well as the Pathway program options.
Sure. For the direct admission, it's a 2.8 GPA. Still no GRE or GMAT required, which is great. IELTS is a 6.5. TOEFL IBT is an 88. The ELS component is a completion of 112. Pearson 58, and they could have a waiver if they did take credits from an English university or an English-speaking university. The other thing that we don't have up here is the Duolingo, which we will accept as well. And if a student doesn't have a test coming in with his application, with his or her application, we will give them a link so that they can take the Duolingo at no additional cost.
And as you guys can see, we have highlighted in the middle the MBA Pathway Program because of its incredible accessibility for students.
It is. The GPA is 2.1. Again, no GMAT or GRE. TOEFL is at a 6. The IELTS is at a 5. TOEFL is at a 60. ELS, completion of 108. Pearson is 50 to 57, and the Duolingo is 88. Or, yes.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I'm glad that you mentioned also the ELS as an option as well, because even if your students are at home right now and they want to apply for the MBA Pathway Program for the spring semester, but they can't really get here right now, they could, of course, study in the ELS's online program, which is accepted for level 108 as well for California Lutheran. So lots of different options and avenues for your students to attend CLU.
Absolutely. That's one of the greatest things. We have our sister, ELS is there helping to support students. I can tell you a little bit of a story later about a particular student that we have in the program that is getting extra assistance from ELS and the online program.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
But since we were talking about the spring semester, we have plenty of time for your student applications to come in.
We do. For the spring deadline, the application deadline is January 15th, 2022.
Crazy.
I know. But the decision feedback, and I like this really because it's 2 business days. And you can thank Dane Rowley for this because he and his team work really hard to get those evaluations back to you, because I know it's a difficult thing when you have applied and you're trying to work out your schedule and you're waiting and waiting and waiting, but we really try to limit that. An I-20 can be issued in 5 business days. The confirmation deadline for spring is January 30th in 2020. Students' arrival on campus, we ask that they come to campus a couple of days before. But one of the things that we're asking at this point in time, because of COVID and because of the pandemic, we ask that students arrive. They can arrive up to 30 days before class starts. And we're asking them to do that, especially if they haven't had a vaccine and they will need to get one. It will take some time. So we want to give them plenty of time to go through that process. So the arrival on campus, we say, is a couple of days before orientation starts. But in some cases, again, and I do that on a case-by-case basis. I talk to students personally and then try to work out their schedule with them.
We will address COVID as well in a minute too, but I'm so glad that you said the 2 business days, because one, like you said, it's great for student planning, but it's also great because we know that students are excited when they're applying and we don't want them to have to wait for forever to get an answer. So 2 days is fantastic.
It is. It's one of the greatest things and the fastest I've ever seen. So it's an amazing process.
Yes.
Just one more point I had last slide, I think. I was going to say something about, the orientation. The orientation is very, very important. We have 2 full days of orientation. And it's not just with the MBA School of Management, it's also with International Student Services. And we acclimate the students as much as possible to the university setting and to their new home away from home. So that's a great thing, so that they're prepared for the first day of class.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the pathway tuition and fees, they're very, very, I think they're very good. They're very comparable, and their tuition is $24,725 for 3 terms. General fees for students, it's about $500. The student health insurance, which everyone is required to have, is $2,675. That's per year. On-campus housing is about $9,000, which includes meals. There is a meal plan. And with on-campus housing, I always work with the students closely to help them find the best dorm situation or apartment on campus.
Great.
We say books, personal expenses, that's usually about $5,000, and the estimated total is about $41,900.
Okay. Fantastic. Yes, very, very reasonable, like you said. Dane talked about it, Dr. Chen talked about it, Carol talked about it, the importance of the career services and student support. So let's talk a little bit about the different career services options that students have available to them.
Yes, career services is one of the best areas, and I introduce the students to this office as quickly as I possibly can. Because what they do is they help students when they're looking for a CPT or their OPT, their optional practical training, because they don't find the positions for the students, but they give them the options. They show them the availability of places that they could possibly work as an intern. They do career counseling. They help a student that may have some questions about their particular career goals. There's a Marketing U series that they put on every year. And they have a career and intern expo, which I think is absolutely phenomenal because they invite local businesses to the campus so students can actually do or start their interviewing process or apply for certain positions.
And that's specifically for career, but we also support the entire student experience, both during the Pathway program and when they progress into the MBA.
Exactly. During the Pathway, I mean, our goal is to help you improve your overall GPA. And this is such an exciting thing, but we actually graduated our first cohort in May. And they came in with an average GPA of about between 2.4 and 2.6. Their ending GPAs were 3.7. One was a 3.8. And I mean, I was just so thrilled. Everyone, we were so excited because, you know, it really was a good indication that the program works so well. And it's due to everyone that helps those students. It's the professors, it's their advisors, it's all of the instructors, the tutoring that they get throughout the entire program. They get individual academic counseling, and I serve as their academic counselor throughout the program. They also have ability to use the Writing Center. And the Writing Center is staffed by people who are very familiar with students that have English as a second or third language. As I said, tutoring is built into the program, so they have that weekly. It specifically is designed for the students so that if there are any areas that they missed or had difficulty with during the week, they can follow up and get help with that on Fridays. As I spoke about career services, that's another thing that is just amazing because students will be able to go there and practice interviewing. They can learn how to write a resume, which will be very important, of course, in their career. They can learn how to write a cover letter. They really give the students skills and tools so that when they're ready to leave, they are well prepared. During the MBA program, they do the same thing. They have individual academic advising. They have the Writing Center. They have career services. They have a lot of people as well throughout their MBA that they can rely on. They can come back and see me. They can see the instructors. Always ask questions. Our doors in our offices are open so that we can help them along so that they have success.